Good day everyone, I'm Nathalie Kaith Calseña and I will report about the birth of Rizal. The birth of Rizal. Jose Rizal was born on June 19, 1861 between 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock midnight. He was born on Calamba, Laguna, which considered a first-class municipality and place where the rich family enjoyed the material progress brought by the opening of the Philippines world trade. Rizal was baptized by Father Rufino Colantes, a Caviteño parish priest. Rizal was baptized in Catholic Church of Calamba, Laguna on June 22, 1861. Father Pedro Casañas, Rizal, godfather, native of Calamba, and close friend of the family Rizal. Jose from Christian Saint Joseph from Father Colantes says that take good care of his child, for someday we will become a great man. Full name of Jose Rizal is Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonzo Riolanda. Rizal's parents. The father of Rizal is Francisco Mercado Rizal, a model of fathers, born in Biñan, Laguna on May 11, 1818. The mother of Dr. Jose Rizal is Teodora Alonzo Riolanda, a woman of more than ordinary culture and born in Manila on November 8, 1826. Rizal siblings. Saturina Rizal Hidalgo, Nene her nickname and the oldest among the Rizal siblings. Pasiano Rizal, he was the only brother of Jose Rizal. Narcisa Rizal Lopez, she married Antonio Lopez and her nickname is Sisa, and Sisa is very close to Rizal. Next is Olympia Rizal Obaldo. Ipia is her nickname and she is the fourth of the Rizal children. Lucia Rizal Herbosa, she married Antonio Herbosa and she died at the age of 64. Next is Maria Rizal Cruz. Her nickname is Biang and she died at the age of 86. Next is Jose Rizal, the lucky seven in the family, and his nickname is Pepe. Next is Concepcion Rizal. Her nickname is Concha. He died at the age of 3. Next is Josefa Rizal. Her nickname is Pangoy. She was active member of Katipunan. Next is Trinidad Rizal. Her nickname is Trining, also become a member of the Katipunan. The last one is Soledad Rizal, the youngest among the Rizal children, and she died at the age of 59.
Good morning everyone, I'm Gail, Bernadette, and Galit, and I'm about to report Rizal's ancestry. Dr. Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonzo Riolanda is our Philippine national hero. He is known Dr. Jose P. Rizal. Rizal came from a mixture of races, just like a mixture of Chinese, Spanish, Japanese, and Filipino blood. Rizal's ancestry in his father's side. His great-grandfather from his father's side was a Chinese merchant named Domingo Lamco. He is married in a wealthy Chinese mestiza named Inés de la Rosa. Inés de la Rosa is a Chinese Christian girl from Manila. In the year 1849, from Parian in Manila, the couple moved to Biñan, ending up as tenants in a Dominican hacienda. Rizal's grandfather from his father was Juan Mercado, who is married to a Chinese-Filipino mestiza, Cirila Alejandrino. Rizal's ancestry in his father's side. At one point in time, Juan Mercado became Gobernador Silo of Biñan, Laguna. Juan and Cirila has 14 children, and one of their children is Rizal's father, Don Francisco or Francisco Mercado. The next one is Rizal's ancestry in his mother's side. Rizal's great-grandfather on his mother's side was Manuel de Quinto, a Chinese mestizo from Lingayen, Pangasinan. Manuel was married to Regina Ursua, a woman with Japanese ancestry. One of their daughters is Brigida. She is married to Lorenzo Alberto Alonso, who is an engineer. The couple has 5 children, and one of them is Chodora. Chodora is the mother of Rizal. This is the mother and father of Rizal, Chodora and Francisco. This is the background of the father and mother of Rizal. At the age of 8, Francisco lost his father and grew up under the care of his mother. He studied Latin and philosophy at College of San Jose in Manila and fell in love with a student from College of Santa Rosa named Chodora Alonso. Chodora Alonso is the mother of Rizal. He came from a family of Lacandula. Both parents of Jose Rizal had Chinese ancestry. After their marriage on June 28, 1848, they settled in Carmona and engaged a farming business. They were blessed with 11 children. These are the 11 children of Francisco and Chodora. The first one is Saturnina, second is Pasiano, third is Narcisa, fourth is Olympia, fifth is Lucia, sixth is Maria, seventh is Jose, eighth is Concepcion, ninth is Josefa, 10th is Trinidad, and 11th is Soledad. This is a short story of Rizal's family. Rizal's family belonged to a middle class or principal class, or Serioles class. The status of his family brought comfortable life to Jose. Their house is made of adobe and hardwood. They also owned carriage and horses, which were symbols of wealth during that time. Jose has 10 siblings and they are all educated in Manila. And still, his parents could afford to hire him a private tutor at a young age. The resources provided by his parents enhanced an innate intelligence of Jose Rizal. In becoming well-educated and because of his knowledge, he would someday enlighten the Filipino to assert their rights and ask for reform in the government.
The childhood memories of Rizal. Jose Rizal grew up in a happy home, ruled by good parents, bubbling with joy, and sanctified by God's blessings. His native town is Calamba. Its scenic beauties and industrious, hospitable, and friendly folks impressed him during his childhood years, and profoundly affected his mind and character. This is the house of Rizal, or the Jose Rizal Shrine in Calamba. Earliest childhood memories. The first memory of Rizal in his infancy was his happy days in family garden when he was 3 years old. Because he was a sick child, he was given the tenderest care by his parents. His father built a little nipa cottage in the garden for him to play in the daytime. Another childhood memory was the daily Angelus prayer. By nightfall, his mother gathered all the children at the house to pray at the Angelus. Another memory of his infancy was the nocturnal walk in the town. The maid took him for a walk in the moonlight by the river. When Rizal was 4 years old, he experienced his first sorrow because of the death of his little sister. Jose loved most the little sister, Concha. He was a year older than Concha. He played with her and from her he learned the sweetness of the sister love. Unfortunately, Concha was died by sickness in 1865. When she was 3 years old, Jose Rizal, who was very fond of her, cried bitterly at losing her. Devoted son of the church. At the age of 3, he began to take part in the family prayers. His mother was a devout Catholic, taught him the Catholic prayers. When he was 5 years old, he was able to read haltingly and Spanish family Bible. He loved to go to church, to pray, to take part in novenas, and to join the religious processions. He was so seriously devout that he was laughingly called Manong Jose by the Hermanos and Hermanas Terceras. The scholar Father Leoncio Lopez, the town priest, that he used to visit and listen to his stimulating opinions on current events and sound philosophy of life. Rizal early education. At the age of 3, Rizal learned the alphabet from his mother. Theodora was his first teacher. At the age of 5, while learning to read and write, Rizal already showed inclination to be an artist. Since early childhood, Rizal revealed his God-given talent for art. At the age of 5, he began to make sketches with his pencil and to mold in clay and wax objects. This is the sketch of Rizal. At the age of 8 also, Rizal wrote a Tagalog poem entitled Sa Aking Mga Kabata, the theme of which revolves on the love of one's language. Because Rizal possessed a God-given gifts for literature, since early boyhood, he had a scribble verse on loose sheets of paper on the textbooks of his sisters. His mother, who was lover of literature, noticed his poetic inclination and encouraged him to write poetry. Rizal's parents employed private tutors to give him lessons at home. The first was Maestro Celestino and the second one is Maestro Lucas Padua. This is the Rizal's poem. Additional, when Rizal was 8 years old, he wrote his first dramatic work, which was in Tagalog comedy. It said that it was staged in a Calamba festival and was delightfully applauded by the audience. Then, since early manhood, Rizal had been interested in magic. With his dexterous hands, he learned various tricks, and he entertained his town folks with magic lantern exhibition.
Let me read to you the story of the moth and the flames. Once upon a time, an old moth had warned her daughter against the flame, so beautiful, so inviting, yet fatal and deceitful, for it destroyed whoever came too close. She herself said she was once tempted by it. She had barely escaped with half-burnt wings. The frightened young moth promised to obey, but was soon asking himself, "Now, why should my mother try to give me such a scare? Why should I close my eyes to such a pretty sight? Those old people are such a coward. They think every fly is an elephant, any old dwarf a giant. What harm can it to me, whatever she says, if I come near the flame? As long as I am careful, what am I, a little silly? What a story should have for other girls, if I being careful, of course." No sooner said than done, and the silly little moth went fluttering around the flame. At first, she only felt pleasantly warm. This encouraged her, and she flew closer and closer, until at last, dazzled by flame, fell and perished in it. As she put me to my bed, my mother said, "See to it that you do not behave like the young moth. Don't be disobedient, or you may get burnt as if did." I do not know whether I answered it or not. Of all the story Rizal's mother had told, this is the most memorable that made the profoundest imprint on Jose Rizal. It revealed to Rizal that the things until then are unknown, that moth were not longer for him insignificant insect, that moth communicates and warns just like his mother. Moth grown dazzling and more attractive encircled the flames then later on burned itself. The tragic fate of the moth left a deep impact on Rizal's mind, and just like it, he was fated to die as a martyr for novel idea. The first day in Binyan, Jose Rizal left Calamba and he was accompanied by his brother Fasciano to Binyan. Rizal's school in Binyan was in the house of his maestro, which was a small nipa house about 30 meters away in the home of his aunt. Rizal described his maestro Justiniano Aquino Cruz as tall, thin, long-necked with a sharp nose and body slightly bent forward, or used to wear cinnamon shirt, and he knew by heart the grammar by Nevriha and Gainsa. Brother Fasciano knew the teacher quite well because he had been a pupil under him before. Rizal experienced being scolded by Maestro Cruz after he asked if he knew the Latin and Spanish, and he answered him un poco or a little. Maestro Cruz wanted his students to study their lessons and be ready before coming to school, so he had this reward and punishment as his method of teaching. During those times, teachers were allowed to scold their students. According to the diary of Jose did not want to remember the number of beatings that he experienced, but the lessons from those beatings. For Rizal, the sadistic method of learning was beneficial since he was encouraged to study and perform about what expected. A victim of bullying. Jose met the bully Pedro, the teacher's son. After the incident, young Jose met the bully Pedro, who laughed at him during the conversation with Maestro Cruz. Jose challenged Pedro to fight and the latter accepted because he thought that he could beat Jose for he was smaller than him. Little did he know that Jose learned the art of arm wrestling from Tio Manuel, so he was able to defeat a taller boy than him. After the fight, he gained respect from his other classmates. Jose Rizal developed the other aspect of his personality to avoid bullying. To compensate our small physics, he studied arm wrestling, fencing, and various aspects of arts.
So, good morning everyone. I'm Ronalyn Tegio, and today I will discuss the daily life in Binyan. His life of Dr. Jose Rizal in Binyan was simple and well-disciplined, and his training contributed a lot to his development as a person and as a hero. He lived in Binyan as a disciplined student, but there was one instant that his cousin asked him to join them in playing near the river. And then his cousin pushed him because he was not aware that he was not a good swimmer. Luckily, their comparison saved him, and because of that, he avoided joining his cousin in this escapade. So, according to his memoirs, this was his daily life in Binyan. So, next is Rizal's daily routine. First is hears Mass at 4 a.m. or study lesson before going to Mass afterwards. Second, go to our church to look for mabulu to eat. Then breakfast, which consisted generally for a dish of rice and 2 fried small fish. Then go to class at 10 a.m. After that, lunch break. Go back to school at 2 p.m., go home at 5 p.m., pray a short with cousin, study lesson, then draw a little, then supper consistent of 1 or 2 dishes of rice with an ayungin, pray again, play in the street if moon is bright, and last is sleep. Dr. Jose Rizal, First Days of Injustice. As a young boy, Jose was able to witness the cruelties that the Filipinos suffer from the Guardia Civil and spent a lot of time thinking why Filipinos had to undergo them. Upon the unjust arrest and incarceration of his mother in 1871, Jose was woken up to the injustice of the Spanish regime. Upon helping to fix the marriage of her uncle, Donna Theodora was accused of trying to poison her uncle's wife. She was made to walk 50 kilometers from Calamba to Santa Cruz and was jailed for 2.5 years. The family attempted to get her released, but it was only when the graceful dancing of Soledad Chern, the Governor General, was Donna Theodora freed from prison. So, because of this event, Jose acquired a hatred for the Spanish regime and lost confidence in friendship and trust of his fellow men, as most of Doña Teodora's arrestors were frequent visitors at home.
Success in Binyan and return to Calamba. Some of his older classmates were jealous of his intellectual superiority. They wickedly squealed to the teacher whenever Jose had a fight outside of the school, and even told lies to discredit him before the teacher's eyes. Consequently, the teacher had to punish Jose. Because of the intellectual of Jose, some of his classmates jealous to him. He experienced struggle or trouble to the classroom. Maestro Cruz beating encouraged Jose to do his best in class. In academic studies, Jose beat all Binyan boys. He surpassed them all in Spanish, Latin, and other subjects. Despite of the struggle encounter, Jose get higher grades in the classroom. End of Binyan schooling. In December 17, 1870, Jose left Binyan after 1 year and a half schooling in that town. Rizal received a letter from his sister Saturnina, informing him of the arrival of the swimmer Talim, who would take him from Binyan to Calamba. Upon reading the letter, he had a premonition that he would not return to Binyan, so that he becomes sad. Rizal see the possibility that he cannot back to the Binyan. Jose went in the chapel of Virgin of Peace and Good Voyage of the Antipolo to pray. We can see that Rizal is a very religious person. He went to the river to gather stone as a souvenir and made proper speech to goodbye to his classmate and teacher. Arturo comes freshman and a friend of Don Francisco took care of Jose during the trip. That's all.
Group 1.